The year was 1929 when the then Lieutenant Governor of the Leeward Islands, Sir Eustace Edward Twistleton Wickham Fiennes, noticed the number of homeless people wandering around sections of Antigua. Struck by the hardships being experienced by some, he then took steps to provide them with a place to sleep and a warm meal. Years later, his vision lives on. Today, the master of the Fiennes Institute is Alton Ford.
And it has evolved significantly since then, the point where we now operate a nursing home. Our budget comes from the consolidated fund. But it's a government-owned institution. Yeah, as long as you are admitted into the institute, it is of no cost to you.
On any given day, Mr. Ford and members of his team are totally focused on the well-being of the 64 residents who call the Fiennes Institute home. So when Arvell Grant, the CEO of the Caribbean Council for the Blind, indicated that the organization was interested in conducting an eye clinic, Mr. Ford welcomed the opportunity. The day eventually became a reality and the clinic was held on the 22nd and 23rd of August.
Our work at CCB Eye Care Caribbean is about preventing blindness and visual impairment while restoring sight and creating opportunities for those persons whose sight cannot be restored. And this particular event represents for us a very special and unique opportunity in Antigua and Barbuda because the residents of the Fiennes Institute are in a particularly interesting place in terms of how society is organized. And we like to begin all of our intervention across the Caribbean, into the Americas and into Africa and parts of Asia by working at the base of society. And so I think we have an extraordinary opportunity to do just that here in Antigua and Barbuda and eventually throughout the Leeward Islands.
The guest speaker was Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Finance and Economy, Harold Lovell, who pledged to support the Council for the Blind.
Support by way of waivers of all duties, taxes, and any other charges which may be incurred with the importation of anything that is necessary for this program.
Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer also lauded the work of the CCB not only in Antigua and Barbuda but in the region and beyond.
I can recall some months ago when Arvell addressed the Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda on this whole initiative. He outlined to us the absolute necessity of Antigua and Barbuda coming on board and working with the CCB Eye Care Caribbean to get this program off the ground. It was fully endorsed by the Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda, and I am delighted to see that some initiative leading to a wider program is being launched today. And I am even more particularly pleased with the fact that the Fiennes Institute was chosen as the launching pad, if you like, for this very important program in Antigua and Barbuda. This demonstrates that not only Arvell and his group, but taking into consideration where we are, that the individuals at the Fiennes Institute are not forgotten at all. You are considered to be very important, and it is felt that here is the best place to start this program. Now I just want to make it clear that the government of Antigua and Barbuda fully endorses this program. And particularly for me, I think it is one of the finest initiatives that will be taking place where you have a lot of people in Antigua and Barbuda who cannot afford to have their eyes examined and to determine the status of this and how the fact that they are unable to do this, they may be living for years with a sight condition which could have been remedied or some support could have been provided for those individuals to either repair repair their sight or to provide them with certain things that would assist them in their sight. And so we feel very strongly that this is an exciting program. It's a very good program for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. This has more to do with a human factor here that speaks to the whole question of the importance of sight. So it's from that standpoint that Arvid and his group must be commended, particularly the CCB, for developing this program. And so we're looking forward, Arvid, that we can move forward with this and we can have it spreading throughout the length and breadth of Antigua over time. And we're prepared to work with you and your group to see it through.
The clinic officially got underway and it was led by Dr. Jenilyn Ang, a senior lecturer in optometry at the University of Guyana, along with second-year optometry students Antonia McCurchin, Lucian Andrews and Cohen Blake. They screened residents and members of staff. The residents, some of whom had not had their eyes tested in years, were extremely grateful. Before getting his eyes tested, Andy Lewis, who's 57, was sure he did not need glasses, but at the end of the process he thought differently.
I heard you in there saying that you don't want glasses.
I don't use glasses, but I will use glasses.
You don't need them?
No, but I need them when I can see what I little letters.
Okay, so you thought you didn't need them, but now you...
No, I need them. Appreciate your colors that you can see much more better.
Well, there were some challenges. For instance, Irene Krabs is Antigua's oldest citizen. At 109, she was not too keen on going through the process. Neither was Charles Henry.
Again?
Yes, again.
For those residents who were bedridden, Dr. Ang and her team went to their bedsides. In the long run, 69 residents and members of staff were examined, 44 pairs of spectacles prescribed, and 13 persons were identified as needing cataract surgery, with many others needing the intervention for major conditions which could lead to blindness if left untreated. The clinic was indeed a success, as was summed up by this resident, Theresa Charles.
You're happy that you
yes. Thank you all.
The next phase of this initiative at the Fiennes Institute will include the handing over of the spectacles to those who were examined and the eventual provision of medical and surgical services where necessary. Once again, it is CCB Eye Care Caribbean, making a difference across the region.